Imagine waking up tomorrow to a world where the United States never took shape. No New York skyline, no Hollywood, no Wall Street influencing the global flow of capital. Think about the technological milestones we rely on. No Apollo missions, no human footprints on the lunar surface, no NASA to drive the mid-century race into orbit. Erasing this landmass from the map removes the pivot point for 5 centuries of global trade and diplomacy, forcing the trajectory of every other nation onto an unrecognizable path. In 1492, Christopher Columbus sails west from Spain, searching for a direct trade route to Asia that bypasses the land-based monopolies of the East. In this timeline, he hits an empty horizon. Expeditions return empty-handed, finding only endless water. Without the Americas, European powers lose access to the gold, silver, and land that funded their rise. There is no new world to colonize. This geographic void keeps European kingdoms locked within their old borders, starving them of the sudden wealth required to dominate the global stage. Without an influx of American silver to pay for trade and war, the Spanish Empire never achieves the economic scale necessary to become a global superpower. Britain's industrialization slows as well. The factories of the 18th century relied on cheap transatlantic raw materials. Without those inputs, the transition from an agrarian society to an industrial giant takes generations longer. This leaves the existing powers of the East unchallenged. The Ottoman Empire maintains its absolute control over trade between Europe and Asia, remaining a dominant economic force well into the modern era. China, already a massive engineering and economic power in the 1400s, faces no competition from a rising West. In this timeline, the Ming and Qing dynasties never lose their technological edge to European rivals. While Europe remains a collection of smaller, competing regional states, Chinese dynasties have the resources to project influence across the Pacific and Indian Oceans. Historically, the wealth of the Americas allowed Europe to leapfrog older Eastern civilizations. Without it, the center of human gravity never leaves Asia. Moving into the 20th century, the global pace of innovation drastically slows. Without the American market and a transatlantic space race, technologies like jet engines, satellites, and the internet arrive decades late. The wars of this era look vastly different. Without a transatlantic industrial power to tip the scales, conflicts in Europe remain regional and brutal, limited by the local resources of the warring states. This power vacuum invites unchecked expansion from whichever local power can field the largest land army, whether it's a Soviet or German force, while the dominant superpowers in Asia prioritize their own borders over European stability. Instead of a rapid era of global integration and growth, the 20th century becomes a cycle of regional warfare and delayed human development. Beyond politics, the way you experience the world is completely rewritten. Entire movements of human expression never happen. There is no jazz, no rock and roll, and no hip-hop to serve as the global soundtrack of the last 100 years. There is no Hollywood to export a unified cinematic language. The global reach of fast food, denim, and American-made social platforms simply doesn't exist. In this world, Mandarin likely serves as the dominant language of global business. Tokyo and Beijing replace Los Angeles as the cultural hubs that dictate global trends and entertainment. America functioned as a global megaphone for the 20th century. Without it, the world remains a collection of isolated regional cultures, rather than a unified global monoculture. But the most microscopic consequence is the most profound. Hundreds of millions of individual people who exist in our timeline would never be born. Because transatlantic migration never occurs, entire generations of families who moved to the New World never meet. Every descendant of an American immigrant remains in the Old World, or never exists at all. That includes you. The specific chain of events that led to your birth almost certainly relies on the ripple effects of the American timeline. Without them, your life vanishes. America functioned as a global accelerator for migration, scientific research, and trade. Without that centralized force, history fractures back into a world of isolated regional civilizations